Okay, I just wanted to on a bit of a run now with the ideas. So I just wanted to talk about a skill I picked up by reading Dale Carnegie, I pronounce it, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've never read the book all the way through. I've read the first quarter of the book about 15 times. I never seem to get through it, but this is a good skill I picked up, which is translated into my life. Um, and I can tell there's a significant impact on how my relationship with other people, and is a good way to get people to like you. And I don't think it's so much manipulative. I think it's just a natural thing, but people don't really think about it when you do it. So basically, what it is being a good listener. So I don't know if you ever notice this within yourself, but if you have a conversation with someone and they're a good listener and they let you talk, especially with myself, I can talk forever and ever and ever. And if the person is a good listener and they're actively showing that they're listening to them, I will keep talking. And it almost feels good to share and good to talk. I don't know what the psychology behind that is, but say if you're sharing good news or something was going on in your life, what you did on the weekend, especially I do find this with my colleagues at work when everyone shares what they did at the weekend. Or if you're just talking about anything, it was to do with politics or the news or anything was going on, everyone has their own opinion to share. But I feel like when I talk, I can feel myself getting more excited when I talk and share stuff about myself. And I found that I like having interesting questions, and when I probe people about certain topics or ask them questions, they will talk and they'll talk and they'll talk. And people love talking about themselves. Is what I'm basically getting at. And if you allow people to talk about themselves in a conversation and minimally say anything about yourself, they will talk and not even realize they just talk about themselves, and often share loads of stuff to you maybe they would have never thought to. And that translates in their perception of seeing you as someone who basically someone they like. If you can let people talk and be a good listener, it's a massive thing. And I find this a lot because I'm a naturally like inquisitive person. I mean, I like to know things about people because obviously I know, there's so many things to learn from other people. So it's a good thing to try out if you're actually ever in a conversation with someone, but you got to be genuinely interested. I mean, the thing in the book is like there's nothing cheap praise is not a good thing. So in the book they say about giving people genuine compliments. You compliment people, it makes them feel good. It's just a natural thing we all know. But cheap praise isn't good because it's kind of like a fake praise. But genuine compliments always make people think well of themselves and think good of you for giving them praise. So if you're genuinely interested in someone, ask them genuine questions and they'll always tell you about themselves, what they're talking about. And this might not be coming across as significant as it's detailed in the book, but it will definitely change your life. And it starts conversations, you know what I mean, asking people questions. And if you ask, you know, good questions, people always have like good answers. And I'll give you an example of something that happened the other day. And I use this all the time in my life with my work colleagues, and everywhere I go ask people questions. It's always how I get conversations started. So I was in the Apple store the other day in London, and I overheard the guy next to me had just flown in from Jersey. And I've got family in Jersey. It's the Channel Islands at the bottom of England. It's kind of like well, it isn't a tax haven, someone's told me, but it's a place where a lot of rich people live because the tax there is very low. So it's a very affluent place, very beautiful place. I go there quite often. My sister lives there. So I overheard this guy was going to Jersey, and naturally I like talking to people, like, starting conversations. So before I leave the Apple store, I just go to the guy, when you flying back to Jersey, mate? And he's like, oh, all right. Like, he's like, oh, how do you know about Jersey and this and that? Turns out this guy was like the financier of Jersey. Like, I can't remember his specific title, like finance minister, financier, finance, something he was in charge of the finance within the government within Jersey at a very, very high level, at the top level, basically. And he was showing me pictures of himself with, British politicians, English politicians, with famous people. And I was generally interested in this guy, and we were talking about Jersey, my family over there, and I was asking him questions because I was super interested. I just met someone, and a top politician in Jersey. This is not something you'd experience every day. It was kind of a weird coincidence as well. But I was literally having a conversation with him for about half an hour, 25 minutes, say 20, 25 minutes. He gave me at least 20 minutes of his time. And all I was doing there the whole time, I hardly said a word about myself. All I said was that I had family in Jersey, which he asked me about, and my sister went over there. And that was at the beginning of the conversation. For the rest of the conversation, he was telling me all sorts about himself, about his partner, about his personal life, about his father, about politics in Jersey, about some, like, I don't know, maybe like topics you wouldn't really want to talk about in the public as a politician. He's telling me all types of stuff. And it's because I was genuinely interested. I met someone who's genuinely a successful person, someone who's genuinely interested. And obviously he came across in the way I was talking to him. And he was telling about himself for about 20 minutes, good 25 minutes. I mean, maybe he was just a polite person, and he gave me the time of day. But it's not like I was forcing the conversation. I was like saying, "Oh, what about this? What about that?" And what I mean, I'd ask him a few questions, and he just ran with them. And I think this comes down to people like talking about themselves. Who doesn't like talking about themselves, especially when you've got something to say? And obviously, a top politician. You know what I mean? I'm sure top politicians like to talk. You know what I mean? He gave me all the time in the world. You know what I mean? And at the end of it, he gave me some good advice. I told him that I was learning French. He was actually is it bilingual? He could speak more than 3 languages. And he told me somewhere I could study French in London. One of the top schools he was saying. I think it's Alliance Française, Alliance French, can't remember what it's called. But yeah, that was just a really good conversation, really good social interaction I had. And it just came out of, one, me being, going out my way to say hello to someone, basically. And 2, being genuinely interested in people. And I've found that it's not hard if you can get people to talk about themselves, especially if you know a little bit about a person, what they do, and ask them a curious question about themselves. They will talk for ages. And I think that's a lot of the time how relationships are made. And I've used this skill, we could call it, in my career, to talk to people in general, different social situations. And it sounds normal. It sounds, you ask people questions all the time. I recommend reading the chapter in the book on the skill of listening to people, and he explained, situations he'd used it in. I think he was at a dinner party, and he was having a conversation with a man about, I can't remember the specific word, but this man would, he dealt in flowers, and I can't remember the specific term. I wouldn't say florist, but dealt in planting of plants and flowers. And he basically let this guy speak for the whole evening. And by the end of the evening, the man raised a toast to Dale Carnegie, telling him that how much he was a great man, and he hadn't said a single word to him. So it's an interesting technique to use, and I think rather than just obviously getting the person interested in you because you're being someone who's willing to listen to them, you can learn a lot. Just in general, you're going to learn a lot from that person. So that's one of the skills I've used from how to win friends and influence people, what's benefited me. I recommend trying it, or actively trying to do it when you're in social situations. And